Hey, welcome back, Comic Book Hero, and today I'm going to take a little bit of a deep dive and examine one of those enduring questions. Superman or the Flash? Who's faster? Now, I'll be honest, longtime DC Comics reader like myself, longtime comic book reader like myself, I would normally say the Flash, and I'm a Superman fan at that. So, hey, that was always the end of it with me. However, like I said, this is a deep dive, and we really want to have a good look at this. I don't want to just go with, Flash is faster, Superman's faster simply because I like one or the other better. But there were reasons why I always believed that the Flash is faster. However, with the examination, I'm realizing, come along with me. Let's see exactly what we find at the end of the day. Now, historically, based on what I've been reading, Superman has been faster than the Flash. Yeah, I know. Big surprise, right? Well, it shouldn't be. DC divides its history into two different portions. There's what's called pre-crisis and post-crisis. Whole bunch of nerd lingo for people who really don't necessarily need it at the end of the day, but for long-time readers, you know what I'm talking about. Superman from 1938 going up to 1986 is hands down faster than the Flash. The things that he was able to do and the things that he was capable of doing in terms of speed there was just very little comparison. One of the better ones you would see in the Golden Age is he runs around the Earth. Or rather, he has a race against Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is flying, he's running, and they're both able to circumnavigate the globe in the space of a day. Now, this is back in the late 1930s, early 1940s. So they were pushing some serious speed if they could actually do this within the space of a single day. And we're able to see it because the sun never sets on them. So they're able to get this whole thing done. And then we get to the Bronze Age, and you see this incredible Superman feat where he flies so fast he bursts the bonds of infinity. There was nothing that the Flash had done up to that time or after that superseded that particular feat. So without a doubt, Superman, the faster of the two of them. However, there was a couple of caveats that were put in place, and one of them was that Superman couldn't move as fast as the Flash in terms of running speed, because if he did, he was going to destroy the environment. But that takes place post-crisis. A lot of guys want to attribute it pre-crisis as well. No. Pre-crisis, Superman was, he was just faster. And it also, pre-crisis, begins all of these Flash races as well. All right, now the first Superman-Flash race occurred in Superman 199. Great key book to have if you don't have already. And it was supposed to be, the race was set up, and, it was supposed to be a charitable event. But it was set up by criminals. And once the Flash and Superman realized this, they decided that they weren't going to finish the race with either of them winning because they didn't want anybody to get any ill-gotten gains off of this supposedly charitable event. But that was their first race. And there's some give and go in the whole race where the Flash takes over, then Superman takes over. But no clear winner at the end of the day. Now, the second Superman-Flash race was in Flash 175. Okay, and this was supposedly the race to the end of the universe. Okay, and this happened, again, where two gangsters or two intergalactic gamblers, they hold the Justice League hostage. And in holding the Justice League hostage, they force the Flash and Superman to race, and the loser is going to have their home destroyed. So it's either going to be Central City or Metropolis that gets destroyed. And that was the premise for that particular race. But again, there was no definitive winner coming out of that race. And you have a really great feat where Superman is swimming. He's swimming as fast as the Flash can run. And the last was in World's Finest 198 to 199. And here, it started off as a Flash-Superman race once more, but they got transported to another planet. And this planet was debilitating both of them in terms of power. But there was a lever that was controlling some sort of device that was going to blow up the planet, destroy a whole bunch of stuff. And so the race became more of a struggle for them to get to that particular lever, throw it, and thereby save the planet. So again, not quite of a race, even though, Barry says, hey, look, I got there first. And the last race, pre-crisis, was in DC Comics Presents 1 and 2, where the Flash is tasked with going through time in order to complete a certain well, I don't want to give the story away, but he's tasked with going into the future and completing a certain sort of effort, let's say, in order to make things happen. Superman is then told, hey, the Flash is running through time and he's going to end up destroying stuff. So the race becomes between the two of them, Superman trying to stop the Flash from completing this effort of his, and the Flash, of course, trying to make good on the task that he's been assigned. So there was never a convincing winner in any of those. And again, for those who were questioning, well, who was faster? Superman was able to catch up to the Flash, who was running through time. I don't even, again, the Flash was running through time. Superman was able to catch up to him. So those type of things right over there, just really off the charts type speed for the two of them at the same point. The Flash was capable of moving through time on his own power, had complete molecular control of his body, he was doing things that were just amazing. He was able to jump off of a plane and make it all the way back down to the Earth by vibrating from cloud to cloud until he got to something high enough in order to do such. So again, just really remarkable with speed. Now, things change after Crisis on Infinite Earths. Once we break out 1986, okay, it becomes more of a back and forth, and that kind of stays till today. After 1986, Barry Allen is no longer the Flash. He made the ultimate sacrifice in the Crisis and died, and will remain dead for at least he remains dead for over 20 years in real time and at least 10 years worth of comic book time. But no Flash, okay, can ever be abandoned or taken the void, because there's always somebody else to fill the place, as it's a legacy type role, and Wally West decides that he is going to honor Barry Allen and become the Flash. When Wally became the Flash, he was nowhere near as fast as Barry. No. When Wally started, the best that he could achieve was supersonic speed. Not hypersonic, but supersonic. He wasn't able to vibrate through bullets. He had to get a metal pipe and smack them away. So he was starting up from a really low level. Superman, on the other hand, was much faster. He was able to circumnavigate the planet within a few seconds. There was an issue where he's fighting the Toyman, and the Toyman sends these toys to annoy him, so he gets some balloons. The balloons keep them occupied, and he literally circles the globe in a couple of seconds so he can try to follow them back to wherever it was that they came from, following their heat signature. So without a doubt, he was just much faster at that point. But then we get to Adventures of Superman, and this is the first Superman Flash race post-Crisis. It's also the best Superman Flash race ever. All the other ones really don't compare. This is the only one where they're actually racing. They're even from start to finish. There's nothing to modify. Okay, there's nothing to mitigate. It's a straight-on fair-go race. And Wally wins. And Wally wins by a chest, like these guys running in the Olympics, okay? They both had to put everything into it. Wally won by a chest. He won by the thinnest of margins, but he won. Great story at the end of the day, okay? The only problem with that in terms of speed was that Superman had also shown himself to be, well, before that he had shown himself to be much faster. Previous to that, Superman showed that he was capable of moving between nanoseconds in an issue where everybody else is frozen in place, and Superman is able to move himself up, and he's disguised as Clark Kent at the time, but he's able to move himself up and show that, that he's able to do these type of speed things. So again, kind of a back and forth at the end of the day. But in terms of a running race, Wally is faster. We do this, it's accomplished, and it shouldn't be a problem. Well, you know how things go with comics. Everything has to, get a little bit augmented as time goes by. So that chest that Wally won by became, if you keep going with it, it became greater and greater over time. And the Superman Flash races, hey, they sell. People enjoy them. And that rivalry is what's supposed to be bringing them in there. But when you look at it, if the Flash is this much faster than Superman, there's no real need for it. But they keep doing it. Next time they meet up is in DC First, #1, where Superman supposedly meets Jay Garrick for the first time. And here, Wally West is running out of control at top speed. I remind you, top speed. He has no control over himself, so he's running at top speed. Jay Garrick needs help to stop Wally, and so he gets Superman to. And I'm like, whoa, why did you get Superman? Supposedly he's slower than the Flash. What do you need him for? But this will be a trophy that we see. When the Flash is running uncontrollably, who do we go to get? We get Superman to help, which makes no sense if he's that much slower. Okay, that's like, hey, I need help lifting this 100-pound weight. Let me go get a mouse at the end of the day. No, you're going to get someone who can actually give you a hand. But whatever. At least for right now, I'll say whatever as we get more into it. So they're both running after them, and Jay Garrick gets close, but Superman gets closer, and he's about to grab Wally. He's about to stop him, and Jay Garrick says, no, Superman, can't let you do that. You mean too much to the world. Sucks speed from him so he can run after Wally. And even though he sucks speed, he doesn't catch Wally. And even though he sucks away Superman's speed, Superman recovers pretty quickly and keeps running right after them. So in that instance right there, we're shown that Superman would be faster than Jay Garrick, but we're also shown that he could catch Wally West if it was necessary in order for him to do such. So we keep those particular things in mind, as we go along with the whole thing. But it's this give and take. It's this back and forth with the two of them. Probably the next best example is Superman, when the Superman Flash race in Flash Rebirth #3. And the Flash fans love this race, okay? They love this race. Why? Because of one particular page where Barry, I'll go into the whole thing. Barry is like, no, I'm going to go destroy the Speed Force. You guys can't stop me. See you later. Superman says, hey, don't worry about it, guys. I'll go run after him and go talk to him. So Superman catches up to him. And they're talking, and he's like, Barry, we can't let you do this. He's like, you can't stop me, Superman. You're too slow, blah, blah, blah. Superman says, look, we've raced before, Barry, and I won some of those races. And Barry looks at him with this dismissive look, that was for charity. And then he zooms off, boom, supersonic speed, and he's gone. And Superman just kind of lets him run off. So I looked at the scene, it's like, okay, I guess he's just not going to chase after him because he's only running at supersonic speed. I know you could do that if you wanted to, right? Well, hey, I guess not. So anyway, the issue ends, and Superman doesn't stop him. But we get that Flash race, and Flash fans love that page. They love it. Those races were for charity. However, if those races were for charity, they had to be the races that happened pre-crisis. And there were only 3 races pre-crisis, and none of them were for charity. Okay, none of them. And remember, there was never a clear outcome in any of them. So for Barry to come now and say, hey, these races were for charity, that's a really, really big retcon. But it also allows these other guys who don't read to come over, Superman and the Flash, to race several times. And it's like, no, they haven't. Okay, they haven't. They really raced a handful of times. And then you have instances like that where Superman's catching up to the Flash and he goes off. It's not a race. There's only one definitive race, and that was the one in Adventures of Superman between Wally West and Superman. However, after Flash Rebirth #3, we then get Superman 709, where once again the Flash is running out of control, and he goes and he decides, hey, I need help. And who does he go for help? Superman. Okay, so Superman sees him running out of control, and the Flash is moving really fast. He's moving so fast people can't see him. He's dressing people up in Kryptonian outfits. He's changing the landscape into Kryptonian this, that, and whatnot. And so Superman, once he realizes what's going on, he's like, okay, I got to catch him. So he tries to grab him, and the Flash is still moving too fast. He won't let himself be caught. He's going to have to come after and catch him. Okay? And he doesn't fly, he runs after him. And he's saying, I always wondered which one of us was fastest. And he catches him. Okay? Great image of him catches him. Gotcha. I remember when this happened. DC had some web boards at the time where you could go and talk. Those web boards had to be shut down because literally the amount of vitriol that was being spewed. No! Impossible. Superman can't catch him. But again, we already saw previously in DC Comics First that, yeah, Superman could catch Wally. Why would he not be able to catch Barry? It doesn't make a whole bunch of sense, right? I mean, is it that we don't want him to catch him? But man, they hated it, okay, from start to finish. They hated that. And so that's what you do. Again, this ebb and flow. I win this time, you win this time. Okay, I'm going to come up ahead, you're going to come up ahead. Yeah. So, of course, DC Universe gets rebooted one more time, even though I'll still say we're in post-crisis. I won't do that post-Flashpoint nonsense. It doesn't matter. So we're still post-crisis at this time. And again, we get to see Barry, okay, and Superman go at it. Superman has been, this is the first time he's meeting the Justice League, and he's, having to go with them. They're having to go with him. He's got the upper hand right now. Barry comes over and says, don't worry, I'm going to help out. And with his speed, he's got Superman, looking over his shoulder, twisting around. He's flipping his cape over his head. And he's like, hey, look, why don't you just calm down? I'm too fast. You're never going to catch me. Superman, however, realizes this guy is pretty fast, and he tracks him. Okay, he gets ahead of him, and then he gives him that, remember, the Superman flick, that little one finger flick, bing! He gives him that flick, and Flash goes flying. He's like, oh my goodness, how did that happen? I've never been touched. I've never been touched at the point. And again, Flash fans can't handle it. Okay, that's another trophy that I'm realizing. They can't handle it. They can't admit that Superman was as fast as Barry, if not faster at that point, in order to do it. Remember, if something's moving faster than you, you've got to move faster in order to get in front of it. You can't just time it. You have to be faster. But hey, that one came, that one went, and they were like, okay, grumble, grumble this, grumble, grumble that. There was another Flash race between Superman and Wally West. This was in a recent issue of the Titans. And in that one, they're both racing, but they're having fun with it, which I always thought is the better type of races, where they have fun with it and it's not really adversarial. It allows the rivalry to keep on, because other than that, you just want somebody to win, and you're not really into it, for the, the theatrical magic of seeing these two characters perform, with speed, with each other, not against each other, but with each other for whatever particular reason. And these two guys are peers in speed. There was an older issue of Titans. This is an older issue of Titans where Wally West shows up. He's the Flash at the time. And Superman shows up. And they're talking to each other. And they're talking at heightened speed. Okay? And Wally seems to be like, having a really good time. Why? Because most of the other guys can't keep up with him. But Superman can keep pace. I always thought issues like that and scenes like that were really cool. But again, the drive is to show who's faster. So we keep on. Most recently, Flash 49. There was another Superman Flash race, if you will. Now, this is supposed to be a race between Barry Allen and Wally West. But Superman's there, and he sees the two of them are racing against each other. They are doing potential damage to the planet, and so they zoom off. Okay, they zoom off, and Superman's like, look, let me go catch up with them. I'll go talk to them. He can't get close to them. Okay, he's like a full 10 feet, 20 feet behind them, whatever it may be. He's yelling. They can't hear him because, I guess it's just being sucked up into a vacuum. And then finally he stops and they're like, hey, what happened? He's like, I couldn't catch up to them. They were too fast, with this pathetic look on his face. And you're like, okay, so we see which way it's tilted back. But this same person who was working on the story, written by a guy by the name of Williamson, he also did an interview. And in the interview, he states, well, hey, when it comes to flying, nobody's going to be faster than the Man of Steel. He's always going to be faster. So then you have to say, well, why didn't he fly after them then? And then you look at the book and say, wait a minute, he is flying. He's flying and he still can't catch them. So the contradiction is still there, and it just looks like, hey, the fix is in. That's what it is. These guys have to be faster simply because they have to be faster at the end of the day. So, but you go back, you look at it again, it's like, well, if the writer of this is saying, well, hey, Superman's going to be faster when flying, why doesn't he ever fly? And is there ever a situation where Superman was flying and they were still faster? It throws everything up into the air at that point. Now, it's not limited to just comics. Superman and the Flash have contested with each other in other media. Superman the Animated Series, we saw Superman and the Flash compete against each other. Even though the result was never officially come out, it was said that the Flash was slightly ahead with a slight edge. But then they did the real thing, they did the hero stuff that they had to do, which is why they should be together in the first place. And they ended it, look, we'll finish the race with the only outcome known between the two of them. On Smallville, they raced as well. And this was Superman against Bart Allen, or Clark Kent against Bart Allen, since Superman was the fastest man alive at running away from being Superman, at least on the show. And Bart just totally dusts him. Okay, they're running, Bart turns around, gives him a little tip, and zooms off. And he's done. All Clark does is look, he's like, wow, he's really fast. He's really fast. So we've seen them in those instances right over there. More that he's learning his powers. And then it's one thing if he's using his powers because he needs to learn how to vibrate through something or how to run on smoke, but all he needed to do was move fast. That's it. You don't need more practice in moving fast. That's just putting one leg in. Hey, you want to move fast, you put one leg in front of the other and just keep moving them faster. You lift your knees higher, if you will. So it didn't wash at the end of the day. But the rivalry between the two of them has transcended all sorts of, media. And then we get back to the terra firma, of the comics. Who's faster? I mean, look, after all the research and images and everything at the end of the day, everything that I've seen the Flash do, I've seen Superman do. You want to see somebody vibrate through something? Superman has done it. Superman vibrated an entire planet from one dimension to another. Okay? Run on water? Superman's done it. Okay? Catch the Flash? Superman has done it. So, at the end of the day, the only honest answer that I could really give is that, hey, look, they're peers in speed. They can both go as fast as they want. I mean, scientifically, once you can go faster than light, since nothing can go faster than light, you can go as fast as you want. I mean, and then again, we have where Superman is being said, as I mentioned earlier, but I can apply it now. It's said that in Earth's environment, Superman cannot go at top speed without damaging the environment, that he has to be careful of that. But the Flash can run at any speed that he likes because he's protected by the Speed Force. So any race between the two of them, the fix is in, especially if it's a running race. The fix is going to have to be in because Superman is already going to be giving a handicap, letting people know, hey, I can only go so fast unless I want to destroy, the planet at the end of the day. And even then, we'll still see scenes with Superman moving at speeds where there's no way he should be able to move this fast if he's worried about damaging the environment. I mean, more recently in Action Comics 1000, we saw Superman moving at greater than hypersonic speed. He was moving fast enough that he was moving between attoseconds, which is something the Flash said that he was able to do. So, at the end of the day, once you're surpassing light, you're going to go as fast as you want. With Superman, once he leaves Earth, he's probably going to be faster. So long as they're going to be localized to Earth, the Flash has that particular advantage, at least until he needs somebody to catch him, and then Superman's going to come back and catch him again or something of that nature. So for all of that research, what can I say? Hey, they're pretty much peers in speed at the end of the day. It's just going to be a bunch of ebb and flow. We'll see some great feats from the Flash, and he's going to take top billing, and then we'll see Superman come, not necessarily exceed him in speed, but we'll see Superman come and even everything out. That's the way it just seems to go, and just seems to happen. Why? Because we want the rivalry. And we can't have a true rivalry if one person's 10, 20, 30 miles in front of the other one. And then on the other hand, what is the Flash's claim to fame? He's the fastest man alive. If you take that away from him for too many people, unfortunately, that doesn't make him as attractive a character. Right? It's unfortunate, I believe, because, the Flash has a lot to offer outside of just speed. Wally West was, for all intents and purposes, the Spider-Man of DC Comics. This was the everyman. We saw him start at a very low level of speed, master it, okay, become in tune with the Speed Force. But in addition to that, he fell in love, he got married, he had children, he was able to, in a lot of ways, surpass, what his mentor, had established as being the Flash. And it was a great read at the end of the day. Not just that he's the fastest, but all of these things that were done in terms of characterization and story that made him so crucial to the to the foundation of the DC universe once they had come out of the crisis. But hey, what do I know? Only been reading comic books for X amount of years. So who's faster? Take your pick. They can pretty much go as fast as they want, at least until the next issue of something comes out. Well, hey, hope you enjoyed yourself. Calvin Ellis, and we'll see you next time.